The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. We start off the day with the S&P up almost 30 points at 1925. Just a little over, well, a lot over 3 billion shares on the New York Consolidated Tape. In fact, we're going to hit 3.1 billion shares here probably in the next couple of minutes. Fed meeting notes are out, and we don't have a lot to say about actually what happened in them. VIX has been kind of light and variable here most of the afternoon. We had a little bit of push going into lunchtime, but a great deal of what's going on out here can just be called light and variable. No real decision yet. Of course, S&P is up a fairly decent amount, but probably what is more interesting is that the S&P has not been up more than 1% 3 days in a row since 2011. So, and if you go back and look at those dates, you're going to find out that that was right after they announced yet another son of the granddaughter of yet another round of QE. So, you know, do we got anything going on here? Got a lot of volume, got a lot of people are probably on the wrong side of the market on many things. But the question is just how far and what can go on. I thought there was probably about a 50-50 chance earlier in the day that we would close back below 1900. That was based on maybe these Fed minutes having something, but it certainly looked like a lot of people were getting way out in front of the tips of their skis, for people that know a little ski lingo out here. But that would be it. But yeah, it's, we just turned 3.1 billion shares. So a lot of volume in a handful of stocks, kind of like we had last year, which is, you know, the FANG stocks. But I did some calculations at lunchtime, and we're back now to 80% of the profits in the S&P coming from about 10% of the companies. That's if they actually have earnings. A lot of them are still losing money. But you know, we've got a market that is really dependent on a handful of stocks. Those are moving the indexes. We're really not seeing that in the rest of the market. So we'll have to see how things are going on. I took one of my only flyers out here for a day trade, and probably not going to do anything with it today. Stop out a little bit, but it just, I thought maybe there was actually I did stop out. So there wasn't a whole lot to that, but you know, the rest of the stuff I kind of like. Doesn't look all that bad, and actually hitting a lot of confluence levels today in many stocks. So we'll have to see the rest. But anyway, I've got probably a couple hundred stocks on a watch list, and these stocks aren't the ones that they mention every 5 minutes on CNBC. Those pretty much hit highs earlier in the morning, have rolled off. So I would not be surprised to see some fairly decent moves back tomorrow, maybe a little bit of a pullback. But man, 3 days with 1%, and I couldn't find any 3 days with 1% where the next day wasn't negative. So I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback, at least tomorrow, and then Friday will probably give us a much better indication of what's going on. But we'll keep an eye on it. It looks to me like the end of a lot of short covering coming in to this market, and I have questions already if I'm out of the bear camp, and the answer is no. This is very much, again, like the start of 2000, where you had a really horrible First couple of weeks, it rallied a few times. Everybody thought it was over. The real destruction started to come in March, and maybe we're setting up the same thing. We're not that far away from that, but a lot of these stocks setting up in confluence levels. Today I put on, I don't know, 4 or 5 positions. So we will continue to see how that works out, but we shall see. And what else? I think that's it for the moment. Probably time that we get started with the shoe.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
They just got to add that in the studio. Just got to add it. Anyway, as we start off the day, we always like a little bit of history.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
The Propeller Heads. Oh, I love that song. With the gal that sang the James Bond theme, Shirley Bassey. Bassey? Oh, what a great song. The Propeller Heads, anyway. What a rocking song. On this day in 1874, Thomas Watson is born in Campbell, New York. After working as a bookkeeper and an itinerant peddler of musical instrument and salesman for NCR, he becomes the dynamic head of IBM, who helps computerize the modern world. His famous motto, "Think," is shortened from his famous remark, "I didn't think," has cost the world's millions of dollars. And of course, moved on. Has had kind of 3 lives at 3 different companies, but for the most part, IBM started off as one of those punch card companies and got some contracts from the U.S. government to do censuses, and made enough money in that to really start building out into wide-ranging businesses. Later sold a ton of equipment to the Nazis so they could exterminate people. Not one of their better moments prior to World War II, especially since they knew exactly what they were selling these machines for. But they are once again trying to reinvent themselves. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648 and keep an eye on what's going on out here. Like I said, a lot of stocks setting up in those confluence levels that we were working and looking for, and kind of very interesting to see nothing but the end of the bear market discussions all day on most of financial infotainment, already in progress. But of course, it's been wall-to-wall Apple and the FBI speech today, and I just wish they'd let me on in a few of these discussions, because I'd set the old CNBC straight. Of course, if you haven't heard and you've been good enough to avoid the media today, a lot of argument about whether or not if Apple should make a special version of their operating system for the phone that was used by the bombers in California. Was it last month? Was it 2 months ago? Man, life goes quick. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about security and a really bad day for Twitter, not price-wise, but reputation-wise, at least to me. And then we're going to get on to some charts for the rest of the day.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And if you missed it, Apple is having a big discussion with the U.S. Department of Justice, notably the FBI and other agencies, I'm sure. Of course, they don't talk about what they do with the NSA. The question is whether or not Apple will make a special version of the operating system so that they can get data out of one of the chips on the board that's inside the wonderful iPhone. And it seems to me like a very draconian idea that Apple needs to do that. Anybody that has any kind of hacking sense would know that there are tools to literally take that chip off the board and put it in a test jig made by the company that made the chip. Even if it was made by Apple, there's a test jig probably from ARMS Holdings. And outside of that jig, they can do all kinds of stuff to it. They can get chips like it and test it, make sure that it all works before they plug in the chip. There's no reason that Apple should have to actually make any of this. My guess is this is either one of two things. First of all, I don't believe that the NSA doesn't have the ability to get the data out of it. It's just not easily. And this is a backdoor approach for the FBI to ask for the data and not have the NSA storm back in with all kinds of letters saying that you have to shut up about it and just do it. But there's a thing called the chip whisperer, which you can put in. There are other ways to get the data out of that chip. The FBI is saying that this would just be the one phone and that's it. And it's pretty much blatantly a lie. Like I said, there are a lot of ways to take that phone apart, take the chip off that has the data in it, You could X-ray it. You could scanning electron microscope it. You can get the data out of it. I've seen people sand the tops of chips off to get data out of chips. Again, probably an easier way is if they just have to go to the guy that built the Chip Whisperer, which is a little device that literally puts fluctuations on the voltage going into a chip until it tricks it into different modes that it wasn't intended on or intended to run in. Before I joined the company that did all the special effects in television in Hollywood, it was a division of Scientific Atlanta. They made set-top boxes. And one of the most interesting story, because one of the engineers was on the project, Comcast and the rest of the big cable companies were afraid that people would be able to instantly go in there and break it and get free HBO and Showtime. So the Scientific Atlanta bought a special chip from Motorola that said it was literally break-proof, that you could not hack this chip. Once you put the data in it, that was it. So to prove that was the fact, Scientific Atlanta actually ran an ad in Toronto in the newspaper and in some of the boards asking at least people in the area in Canada to take a swipe at it and see what would happen. They offered $10,000 the next day. A guy came in and showed them all the code out of that chip. When they asked him how he did it and what he used, he said, I used a Commodore 64. I wrote a small program. I found out that it took 2 clock cycles to come back for that data location when it was a 1 and 0, and 1 clock cycle when it was a 0. So why it wouldn't tell me exactly what was in there, all I had to do is test every memory location and count how many clock cycles there were. I knew whether it was, say, 1 or a 0, and that was it. So he walked out with his 10 grand. Not that too long a time ago. So what the NSA, who probably already has it and probably just won't share with the FBI, is the ability to literally go after the hardware. The FBI doesn't want it. They want to be able to get a tool that they can use on everything in the future indiscriminately. Unfortunately, we know and do know now that whether it's the President of the United States, let's give a good question here. Which did Nixon or did President Obama listen to more phone calls from Congress, from tap phone calls to Congress? And by a factor of 30, even if they wouldn't have been caught placing him in Watergate, we know that the current president has listened to more phone calls from members of Congress stating, of course, that it was an issue of national security. Well, it had nothing to do with national security. We know that if they have the power to do it, they will abuse it. And you can make the case that President Obama is far worse than Nixon because he's continuing to do it. So there is no defense against people that have absolutely no compunction to not do it. So I would be on the side of Apple here, and that is take it to the Supreme Court if you have to. Anybody at the FBI that had half a brain would go to somebody that knew how to reverse engineer chips, and they would get the data out. So we already know a few things. Probably, one, the NSA probably has figured it out. The NSA uses the CIA. They will cajole people in a company to give up all the facts. What the FBI wants, and has probably got, is a way to introduce this in a court of law where they don't have to lie about the way they got it. In fact, the FBI and many of the FBI should be in jail because for the last 5 or 7 years, they've lied on many, many search warrants. They never go to jail for it. There's never any downside. Occasionally, someone gets off if they've figured it out. In fact, there was a well-known hacker who got out early because he came out and found out that they lied all over the place in the search warrants filed to apprehend him, and never said that they were basically hacking every cell phone in, I think it was in Reseda, California, to find the guy. And of course, they lied to the judge on exactly what they were going to do and how they did it and how they got the data, and then made up a story on how to get it back. So it's pretty easy to see that these guys have one idea in mind, and that is that we'll stop terrorism at all costs, and that cost is your personal freedom. So I think you can make a case now. Who would be the next president out there? Is he going to be any better than the ones that have come before him? You let the, as they say, you let the nose of the what is it? Camel in under the tent, and they will be coming in there as well. But that's it. But yeah, if anybody, give them. There's a. If in fact, I'll probably post it in during the break. There's a guy that's made a thing called a chip whisperer. And literally all he does is sit there and screw with the voltage going into the chip and just tries all kinds of different things. Eventually, it flips the chip into a mode where it's no longer locked on a lot of these secure chips. But he can look at literally everything going on inside of a chip and figure out how to crack it. And I'm sure the NSA was probably the first in line to actually buy it. So a lot of hooey, a lot of lies, all to get at data in a fast way that they will later lie about. But protect your security, call your congressman, tell them it's bogus. We'll be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back, and for some reason, the white balance on my camera keeps resetting. Well, I'm not exactly sure why. Anyway, a dark day for personal freedom out here. Of course, in the vein of continued security, the U.S. Department of Defense is going totally to Windows 10. We talked about this maybe 6 months or 9 months ago, maybe a year ago. And that was that there was going to be a board that you could put in your computer that would make probably hacking a Windows machine maybe 10 times harder than it had been before. And that's enough for the U.S. Department of Defense to go to all Windows 10. That'll be about 400,000 machines in the near future. And I didn't look at Microsoft to see what they were doing. They were up earlier. What do we got out here? Yep, up 3%. Probably a pretty good deal for them. Of course, I'm sure there's some kind of contract for them to do it, but it continues on. Yeah, so there's the yin and yang of that. Better security for U.S. Defense Department, and eventually that'll trickle down to us. Other things going on that I thought very interesting is Twitter, TWTR, getting a black eye today, but up strongly. We got $1.22, but it's found out that Twitter is basically deciding which president you should vote for. They are actively moving and doing what's known as stealth banning. Normally, this is used for moderators to make sure that spammers keep out of the feed of Twitter. But they've decided that a certain party should be president and are burying tweets by many people on it. And I don't know. I just have a feeling that it will eventually catch up to them. Of course, highly short out here. I don't think this has caught a lot of people's eyes just yet today. But I have a feeling in the coming days you may continue to hear more about it. But any kind of company like Facebook or Twitter that doesn't really just get into the way of spam removal, but is deciding who's and what you should see becomes problematic too. And in an election season, who knows why they're doing it. But pretty easy to prove that they are. And, maybe it's just okay to do it. Maybe it's okay if you disagree with somebody. I've always been of the idea that actually more speech is better. If someone has a stupid idea, I want them to go out there and yell it from the rooftops. Normally, everybody will figure it out fairly quickly. You don't have to make sure and do a Stalinist move and make sure that they never see it. Did I talk about this last week? Probably the most interesting thing of technology last week was that if you look into the Amazon's terms of service for Amazon Web Services, in the 26,000 word document that makes up Lumberyard, which is a part of their Amazon Web Services, they've added a clause that says, in the event of a zombie apocalypse, many of the previous terms laid out will be voided. But that's about it. Well, let's get to some stocks. Again, you can email me at path@tfnn.com. You can also call me at 877-927-6648. I had a chart somewhere out here. Let's go look some of these up. Actually, what am I doing out here? Actually, I wanted to look at some other things of stocks that were moving, of which there are a ton. Let's get to those real quick. Casey, one of the stinkers out here. Where are they at here? CASY. I will find it here. CASY. And what do you have? Casey's General Store down on heavy volume today. It is off, almost 9% on almost 800,000 shares, 900,000 shares so far. As we look at this, pretty decent volume. The next low out here is 101.36. Of course, this is a company that really is in the fast stop car gasoline station. Hopefully you go in and buy potato chips that are twice the cost at the local supermarket or buy a drink. But down on heavy volume, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to have to look at their earnings tonight. Another one off a little bit, was off actually a lot more earlier in the day, is Cerner. They had a pretty bad earnings report. Got a little bit better on their comments, but they've still broken through the previous lows, although they've recovered something. But I don't know if you can say that there's a whole lot left out here for the Cerner Corporation. They got fairly close to the April 28, 2014 low at $48.39. That had 5.2 million shares. Today's run down here at 11 million shares says that you're going to get that 48.39 tested back from April 28th, 2014, and take the Wayback Machine to get it. Let me check a couple of other things going on out here just to see how things are going. I got a bunch of new added positions, so I just need to check them real quick. I'll stop out of one, which is okay. Stop out early, stop out often. Twitter. I added it to my list. I got to take it off now. Okay, what else do we have going on out here? That was the first one for Cerner. Expedia, nice little pop out here. EXPE, apparently all the stinging mosquitoes and everything else have not really changed a great deal. What you have to dislike about this is what I see in the general market, and that is that the retraces on this thing are on fairly light energy for the most part. You had a gap up a couple of days ago that actually put some energy in it of 11 million shares on the 11th. What today did was just take you to a 50% retracement on this. I don't see anything that's really changing in their business model. We continue to see that maybe the change in the dollar and, of course, more issues with traveling with the Zika virus and some of the other stuff that may weigh in the near future on them. And also some of the airlines trying to cut them out of the biz. This went right to the 114.46, which is the 50% retracement. And what you didn't have is any kind of volume, but that's pretty typical of today. A lot of volume in the actual indexes, not a lot of volume in the individual stocks. Fossil, this one had come down off about 120 bucks. FOSL, nice little pop out here. Guess we're going to the break. We'll be back, talk about Fossil, but so far this thing is just filling its gap, which is a monster. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now, you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Had a email to check out Apple here today and see if there's anything going on. And you came down with heavy volume. You did it on the 27th. That was 133 million shares. You were up today on 31 million shares. You're into that gap down. Pretty bearish looking. High volume out here. And, of course, not a lot else going on other than that. So this thing dance around 100 maybe on Friday for expiration. It could. I just don't see any juice behind it or any other thing. Most of these companies, but we are getting into a lot of these, especially we've been talking about this level on Amazon where it was going to come back into confluence on its level and what we were looking for. Pretty close to it now, and it is the 44 area to 538. Today we actually got to the high, 537. So we're right at the base of that. Maybe you've got a little bit more out here, but man, you've got to be very bearish on this volume. If you go back to the February 9th low and just look at these volume bars. In fact, let me zoom in on just these volume bars here. You've got to look at a fairly decent level where these things have just gone down. So is it a little up on, if you're asking if it's going up on light volume, I think it's infinitely available, even if you were blind, to see how small these bars are in comparison as they go back up. So not a lot of people buying the love out there on Amazon or on Apple on these moves back up. But Amazon are very tough thing. I probably wouldn't have talked about it. I'd probably put it in the newsletter if I could have bought some, or thought I could have bought some decent options on this thing as an ABC on the way down. But the options are ludicrously expensive. And who wants to short a $500 stock for a 10% move if it gets back down to 500 or something, or 580, what is that, 474? I'm looking for a lot easier roads to hoe than Amazon out here, but probably a good indication of what's going on in the market. And that is you may be right on the stock and still not have very good risk reward, even though it's made some fairly interesting moves in this market. But man, talk about bad volume. Certainly, it looks like we're in some rotation out of some of these stocks that supported the market last year and into some other ones. And of course, a lot of discussion about everybody getting out of Apple as they had to file those things just a few days ago. Let's get back to it. Anything in the den? I can't talk about that. What else do we have going on out here? Oh, get back to my list. I was looking at another list. We looked at, did we look at Fossil already? Let's look at Garmin, GRMN. A lot of these stocks with huge, GRMN, isn't that right? GRMN. A lot of these stocks with high short interest coming up. Now, this one I wanted to see how it did today because, of course, it went right into its confluence area. As we talked about a week ago and then 2 weeks ago, this is really where you want to start watching how well these stocks perform as they come back up to this level. One of the reasons why I probably wouldn't short this one, although it's probably in a trading range between this high today and $31, is the light volume. One of the few stocks that actually had a light volume test. I think that's why we just talked about this a couple of weeks ago. October 15th, $31.32, but had 9.4 million shares. Went underneath it on January 20th with 1.6 million shares, kind of come back up here. So not a bad 25% move, or actually 30% move if you bought it around that $31 move. But everything telling you this is about one of the best indicators in a downtrending market, and that is finding the confluence levels. This was at $40.96 to $40.69. You spiked it. You're back underneath it. That's what you want to be watching for the end of the day. And, of course, you got a nice gap out here that could get refilled without much a problem from their earnings date out here. You had, what, 5.6 million shares today, 5.7. So not a bad move, but also if you were long, probably a good indication that it was time to exit stage right. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. 1927 on the S&P cash, up 32 points, 3.44 billion shares. So that continues moving on. Get through my spam here pretty quick. Check for some more email. Okay, Priceline. Somebody mentioned that in the den. Another one, PCLN, that I looked at. I kind of liked the idea of this thing getting back up to these levels. Of course, Expedia also moving on the same news, and that everybody doing well. This got pretty close to its 618 retracement. That's 1276, and we'll go back to that. Got to a high of what, 1246 today. So we got just a little bit more. You'd love to see this thing hit that. Nothing has really changed. Earnings were okay, but from everything you look at the airline business, this would mean that this is probably a bounce in a downtrend. It may just take a lot longer for this thing to tail off on the right-hand side of the chart. It may go sideways for a while and consolidate. My guess is that it will go down and test this low at 954.02 from February 9th. But some nice moves out here. What else do we have? Rackspace. And this thing had a wild day if you owned it. Got down to almost 15 bucks earlier and has come back in to the trading range, but massive volume. So you want this thing to test the 1505 before you would ever buy it. High volume lows are not lows until they get retested on lighter volume. So, of course, you know that 1505 is going to be setting up for lighter volume. And I don't know if there's anything more you can say about it other than that. The earnings call wasn't all that great. We're up, what, 30 cents, 2%. Much better than being down $3, which it was earlier today. But other than that, maybe some people in there buying it to support it and selling it into any rally for as long as it lasts. GLLS. Regulus Therapeutics, it bounced today. Actually much higher at one point. It was up to $8.85. Seeing a lot of these stocks give a great deal back of what they had. But still up 19%. I think it was up 40% or something at one point. A nice bounce out here, giving a great deal of that back. And again, who's going to be short these stocks? Well, there are a lot of morons that are. And for a great deal of it, these guys ran these guys to the farm, ran them out in the morning, and of course, a pretty decent pullback for the rest of the day. We're going to go and look at Restoration Hardware and T-Mobile when we come back. You still have plenty of time to give me a call, 877-927-6648.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're with Jim from Oldsmar. How you doing today, Jim?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to get to talk to you.
Good enough. So what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are along the lines of, like you look at a chart of the New York Stock Exchange and you go back 20 years, and every 7.5 years there's a big 40% drop or so. And I've heard others talking about the possibility of that happening again. And I was just wondering what your feelings are, kind of long term, say between March and September, October, when you usually have some kind of a upset in that time period. What you might think the markets may actually do in that kind of time frame.
I still think it looks very much like 2000. We had a real tough beginning of the year. We've got a little rally, and then of course in March everything started coming back down again. I don't know if you can say the severity will be as bad as 2000, but I think that there's certainly the capability of it. One of the emails asked if I thought this was a rotation into commodities, and I think for a very brief amount of time. I'm still thinking that the dollar goes through the roof, that we've pulled back here a little bit, and you know, Janet Yellen and the Treasury guys all trying to stamp the dollar down. But my guess is it goes higher, and as it goes higher, it will take the market with it, including commodities and other things also. So while we've had a pretty wicked pullback in it, I am not done thinking that the dollar is done. I still think that we go to probably 103 or more on the S&P, on the cash for the dollar index in the coming future. So maybe a respite, but for the most part, you know, I'm going to try to keep short as much as I can. Even going back to my notes when I was shorting everything in 2000, it was not uncommon to see huge moves like we've had in the last week, and lots of volume come in, and then 2 weeks later we were, you know, 200 NASDAQ points below that. You know, everybody thought that there was always some that was it, and probably the severity is not as bad, but I do absolutely hate the charts I look at every night. These stocks going up with the majority, probably 85% of them, going up on extremely light volume compared to the volume they came down on. So, you know, as long as that persists until we get a leg down that has light volume, I will be in the bear camp. So the indexes, a lot of volume. I go to the ETFs. I go to a lot of the individual stocks, very little, if any, volume. And I'm seeing a couple of the stocks that I've been eyeing turning today, so we actually got in on them in the newsletter. But that's kind of the way I see it. Maybe we could hang out here for a month or something. But I'm going to be doing everything until I see a pullback with light volume, not just at the lows, but all the way back down with light volume. I'm going to be in the bearish camp, and I don't want to be there the day that we open up, you know, 100 points down in the S&P, which I think is a distinct possibility. This is exactly where you start seeing the huge haircuts. Everybody thinks it's over. Everybody gets out of the short positions, and then we get the exact same thing we got coming back into the new year.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I was looking at it too. I was very fortunate to have. Cool. I'm retired. I just try to maximize my small amount of IRA, and I'm trading it myself, and I've done pretty good. And I was getting pretty
well, we're going to
I got out.
We're going to the end of the show here now. I want to thank you for the call. I will be out tomorrow, and probably not back until Monday. I may be back Friday. It depends on how things go. But newsletters will continue. Don't worry about that. I will just be out getting my knee fixed. So we'll see you Monday.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.